person you can't stop thinking about, the one who lives in your head rent-free years later, she's not your soulmate, bro. She's a psychological parasite. And Jung would tell you the reason you can't forget her is way darker than you think. Here's what's really happening in your psyche right now, and this is gonna sting. You think you can't forget her because the love was so deep, so real, so cosmic. You tell yourself she was different. She was special. She understood you in ways nobody else ever did. Maybe it's been 2 years, 5 years, hell, maybe a decade, and you still catch yourself thinking about her when you're alone. You compare every new girl to her. You scroll through old photos late at night. You remember specific moments, specific conversations, like they happened yesterday. And you've tried everything, bro. You've dated other people. You've thrown yourself into work. You've told yourself to move on, but she won't leave. She's like a ghost haunting the hallways of your mind. And here's what nobody's telling you. That's not love. That's not romance. That's not your soul recognizing its other half. That's a psychological complex with its claws in your unconscious, and it's feeding off your energy like a vampire. Let me show you the actual mechanism of why you're stuck. Because Jung cracked this code, and nobody talks about it. When you met her, something happened deep in attraction, deeper than chemistry. She activated what psychologists call your imago. That's the unconscious temple love that got programmed into your brain before you were even 7 years old. Every interaction you had with your parents, every moment of affection or abandonment, every time you felt seen or ignored, all got compressed into this invisible blueprint. And that blueprint, it's sitting in your unconscious right now, running your entire love life like malware. When she showed up, she didn't just match your type. She matched the exact emotional frequency of your childhood wounds. Maybe she was emotionally unavailable like your mom. Maybe she was critical like your dad. Maybe she gave you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to feel secure. And your brain went, yes, this is familiar, this is love. But it wasn't love, hermano. It was recognition. Your psyche recognized the wound and mistook it for destiny. That's why you can't let go. You're not mourning a person. You're mourning the fantasy that if you could just win her love, you'd finally heal that childhood pain. But she was never the medicine, bro. She was a symptom. Now, let me hit you with some Jung concepts that nobody talks about, but explain everything. First, there's what he called psychological complexes. These aren't just memories, bro. They're autonomous chunks of psychic energy that live in your unconscious, like separate personalities. When you think about her and you can't stop, that's not you choosing to remember. That's a complex hijacking your attention. It's got its own agenda, its own life force, and it's draining you dry. Jung discovered this by accident when he invented the word association test. He'd say a word, measure how long it took people to respond, and certain words would cause massive delays. Why? Because they hit a complex, an emotional wound that was still alive and kicking in the basement of the mind. Second, there's this dark concept called shadow marriage. Sometimes your psyche performs an unconscious wedding with someone who was never even your official partner. It's deeper than a real marriage because it happens in the archetypal realm, not the legal one. Jung himself had this with Sabina Spielrein, his patient and secret lover. She influenced his entire psychological framework more than his actual wife Emma ever did. That relationship ended, parapsychologically. He carried her for decades. You might have only dated her for 6 months, but your soul married her in secret. And until you perform a psychological divorce, you're still bound, still haunted, still unable to fully show up for anyone else. Here's the darkest truth about why she lives inside your head. You think that remembering her honors the past. You feel guilty when you start to forget because it feels like betraying the deepest love you ever knew. But listen to me, brother. Jung knew that holding on is not loyalty. It is severe psychological fragmentation. You are trapped in participation mystique, a primitive state where your soul never separated from hers. You keep her memory alive because your unconscious needs that pain to feel something real. Moving on is never a betrayal. Her ghost currently occupies the exact space where your real future belongs. Let the illusion shatter today. So, how do you actually kill the ghost and get your mind back? Jung used a radical, almost dangerous technique called active imagination, and it's the only way to perform the psychological divorce. This isn't some weak meditation, bro. It's an invocation. Find a quiet room, shut out the noise, and close your eyes. I want you to actively summon her image in your mind. Don't run from it. See her face clearly. Now, here's where it gets real. You don't passively watch the memory. You confront the projection. In your mind, ask her, "What do you want from me? Why are you still here?" And then, and this is a terrifying part, you wait. Let your unconscious answer. She might say, "You need me to feel alive," or "I hold the part of you that knows how to love." Whatever it is, that's not her talking. That's your severed animus speaking through her face. Now, you complete the ritual. Tell her out loud, "I reclaim my soul from you. I release you to your own destiny, and I take back my power." Visualize her image turning to smoke, fading, losing all its color and energy. You take that energy, that love, that intensity, and you pull it back into your own chest. You are starving the complex. You are untying the knot. You aren't forgetting her. You're integrating her lesson and killing the obsession. This is it, brother. The ghost is dead. You can keep carrying her corpse, bleeding your energy into a fantasy that never existed. Or you can bury her and finally wake up. The choice is yours. Integrate the lesson, reclaim your soul, and become a man of true presence. If you're ready to stop haunting your own life, subscribe. We're diving deeper into the shadow next. Stay dangerous. We're out.